I like fashion. I grew up with 5 close girlfriends, and I moved to one of the fashion capitals of the world. What do you expect? Dressing up is just fun. Alice might drag me out to go somewhere, and we'll spend 2 hours getting ready. In high school, there were the school dances and the secret parties my friends and I would sneak off to. I love making myself look pretty for an audience. However, there's just one little issue that I've had. I'm always having a standoff with dresses. I love them. Tight ones, flowy ones, those big poofy ones that make you feel like a pretty princess. There's just one problem. I always manage to somehow destroy them. I don't know what kind of game the universe is playing, but whenever I put one on, it's like a death trap waiting to happen. They'll rip, I'll trip, something spills on them, I make a fool of myself. They're super pretty, but super duper terrifying for me to put on. I never know what's actually going to happen when I go out with one. Okay, for instance, let's start all the way at the very beginning. My freshman homecoming. Now I want you to imagine a small, enthusiastic 14-year-old Skylar, ready to take on the world with all of its scary upperclassmen. My mom and I had gone shopping the week before, and I got this cute little cocktail dress. It was super simple, just a bright yellow dress with a little V-neck, but I felt like I was the next Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Of course, what happens to this beautiful dress of mine? Some senior bumped into me. I fell into Casey, whom I was just getting to know at the time. She spilled her drink in front of the dress. I rolled my ankle while trying to back up, and then my dress snagged on one of the chairs and ripped. Yeah, I spent the rest of the night crying in the bathroom. It was embarrassing. Sophomore year, I'm going to our winter formal. I had this super long off-white dress, which was super short in the front and fanned out all long and elegant in the back. I turned heads with that one. Too bad it didn't survive. The dance itself went by great. However, when waiting to get picked up, my friends and I were all sitting outside in the parking lot when my dress snagged into someone's door without them noticing, and they proceeded to drive and drag me down the street for a solid 15 seconds before realizing what was happening. Another dress down the drain. That, and my heels. I ended up with a lot of scrapes and bruises to go with it too. At least the girl apologized to me after it happened, and I didn't break any bones, so that was a plus. Junior homecoming? My aunt spilt wine on my blue dress before we even left the house. Junior prom? I tripped on my heel and fell into the grass, ruining the top half of a black and white dress. The white, of course, was on top, and was covered in streaks of mud for the rest of the night. I mean, I looked like I had poop all over the top of my dress. No one really noticed except my friends, though, so it wasn't that bad. By senior year, I was so paranoid, I could barely enjoy the dance without keeping one eye open in all directions in fear that someone was going to ruin my dress. I was lucky to make it out unscathed that night, but I'm not entirely sure it was worth it. I don't know what it was about high school dances and my constant bad luck, but they just seemed to merge together perfectly every single time. It was super obnoxious. Just when I thought it would end there, it didn't. The dances were just instances where I totally mutilated my dresses. We're not even talking about all the minor to major mishaps I faced while wearing them. Let's try my graduation. I had a figure hugger. Super cute, but a little too tight. I don't know, it made me look like I was skinny. Like I had a big breakfast that morning. Totally did it. Even contained the huge dinner I had with a bunch of friends afterward. We're all getting up from our seats and getting up into line so we can get our diplomas. I'm just minding my own business, unsuspecting of anything, when Bryn taps me urgently on the shoulder. Our last names were super close, so anytime everyone had to stand or do something in alphabetical order of last name, we were always standing together. I turned around, but she immediately signaled for me to turn the other way. I did so, very confused, and then realized she was pointing down at my dress. That thing hiked up so far, everyone would have been able to see my underwear if she hadn't told me to turn the other way. I guess that one wasn't as bad, but it definitely was just as embarrassing. Alright, so now we're finally out of high school territory. I'm finally safe now, right? Wrong. Let's start with the first time Alice took me to a French dance club. We looked super good, I'm telling you. She invited a group of girls. We were all in super cute clothes. I went, of course, in a tight dress. So we get there, we're dancing, but the next thing I know, I hear this sound that sounds like an awful lot like a rip. I knew it was my clothes, so I ran to the nearest bathroom to see and realize that there's a giant rip right up the side of my dress. Now, a high school me would have freaked out and torched the thing, but I'm 18. I'm a big girl. I decided to suck it up and make it seem like part of the dress. It kind of did anyway, so I went out to join the rest of the girls back on the dance floor. This is where things go even farther downhill. I'm weaving through a bunch of people, trying to find them, when I end up passing a group of really tall guys. Now, I don't think much about it until one of them turns around to walk away and gets his ring stuck on a loose string. It started to unravel without me knowing it, and by the time we realized what was happening, it was because he was trying to tug his hand away from the thread, and my skirt had unraveled even further up. It seriously did not help that he looked me up and down and proceeded to ask if I was single. That last one is definitely bad, but not the worst. I'm on a date, not with the last guy. I would rather projectile vomit than meet that man in person again. Alice lends me a cute little strapless dress to wear. You can probably already see where this is going. We're on the date, walking around the city. I can't remember what I was doing exactly. We'd been walking around long enough, so the hoodie I was wearing was just making me feel super hot. So I'm pulling it off, but then I realized I ended up taking the top part of the dress with me. It wasn't as bad as you think. The reason it ended up so embarrassing was because I realized it was coming off and tried to stop it, which ended in me not taking off the hoodie, and it just kind of sat there on my face while my date proceeded to laugh at me as I struggled. I ran into a pole after that happened too. I took it off and my whole face was red. It was terrible. Then he ran into a wall because he was so busy laughing at me he didn't notice we were going under an archway. That made me feel a bit better. No one else seems to have these issues though. Out of everyone that I know, I'm apparently just a big klutz. Which, honestly, is probably correct because I don't know anyone else that has destroyed at least 6 fancy dresses in the span of 4 years because they're prone to tripping and people like to spill stuff on them. So yeah, we see my dilemma. I love dresses. I really do. Getting dolled up and sticking on something that makes me feel like a Disney princess is so much fun. I just wish wearing one didn't automatically make God look down at me and then decide, hey, watch what I can do. Not to say something bad always happens when I wear a dress. I've had plenty of occasions where I go out and everything goes totally fine while I'm wearing one. Many of the dresses I own are still very much intact. I just don't really wear dresses that often because of my bad luck streak, but of course, I'm always up for the occasion. Maybe I bring an umbrella or something with me when I decide to go out in one. Or maybe I should just stop wearing heels. I can't do without dresses, but I can most certainly do without those spiky foot weapons.